To session 2, which is Embrace Your Job. And I'm Lisa Teichner. I think I know most of you. I don't know. Well,
we met one of the other.
We've met. Yeah. But and I am just part of the core group of the office, and I used to teach like all the classes, and now I don't have to teach all the classes anymore, which is great. Although I do love coming back and doing some of the classes. So yeah, Sasha asked me to do this, and this is good because I actually haven't taught these classes since they redid all of them. So I think there's some good content in here. I'll just kind of go over, as I mentioned, it's going to be a little bit fast because we are it's a short time frame. So we'll cover some of the critical components. So embrace your job. Hold on. No. What do I need to do? It's on.
I hit the next.
Oh, okay.
Refresh.
Okay, so you guys already did session 1, and which was this real estate expert section, Spark Your Career was the first. So everybody attended that? Did you guys all attend, everyone? Okay, great. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about the 6 core competencies of a business. Recognize your role as a fiduciary for clients. We're going to talk about the difference between a fiduciary and a functionary. Review the success system checklist that they have in your booklet, and then recap and ahas, and then we're going to do the daily system, hold on, let me move this so that it's not in my way. There we go. Daily success system. Of course, now I can't see who's on there, so that's probably. Hold on. Let's do this. Let's see. Maybe we can do it this way. I see Sam's on. No, that's good enough. Okay, good enough for now. Okay, let's talk about the 6 core competencies. So on the bottom, there's a slide number, it says 11, and we're going to check and see if that corresponds. I'm not sure if that actually corresponds to your book or not. No, it just says 2.2, 2.3, and it's not on the slide, so you'll just kind of need to follow along. So we just went on the agenda. We're now going to be at the 6 core competencies in a business, which is 2.3 in your book.
I remember just like that.
What's that? Oh, do you have more of these?
Well, no, I can print it out. I got it.
Okay. Okay. So the 6 core competencies of a business is number 1. Okay, who wants to read? Let's go around and make this interactive. Nicole.
Number 1, lead generate, capture, and convert to appointments.
Love it. 2, Tracy.
Present to buyers and sellers and get agreement.
Great. 3.
Show buyers and market sellers.
Love it. Bill.
Write and negotiate contracts.
Great. Teresa, can you read?
Sell to quote.
Great. And 6, let's go with Sam or who else did I see on? Joshua, who's going to read number 6? Unmute yourself, or Jim, somebody, whoever's first.
Manage the money.
Love it. Thank you. Manage the money. Okay, Sam. Awesome. Okay, so let's break down each of these. Lead, generate, capture. What's that?
No, I can print it.
Okay.
Sorry.
Lead, the first competency is your first priority, which I'm sure you've heard 100 times already since you've been doing your trainings. If you have no leads, you have no, that's right. That's what we like to say. Good, that's fun. Okay, so you have to have leads to sustain a thriving business, which is what we all signed up for, right? Like, we're not doing this because we have nothing better to do with our time. We want to create a business worth owning, and this is how you start. So you're going to learn, and you are going to hear it over and over again, that this is your number 1 job, your number 1 priority. The daily practice of talking to people about real estate, and it becomes just part of what you do naturally. So your lead generation, you want it to ultimately just be part of who you are, right? It's not like, now granted, when you're new, you have to structure it a little bit differently. You're focused on it. You're saying, I'm blocking out this amount of time to actually do this part of having these conversations with people. And we'll talk about Ford later, about what are the things that you say and what do you talk about and how do you get into really having that conversation about real estate. And then also capturing, where it says lead generate and capture, the capturing is about obtaining accurate information about people. So like name, phone number, creating a complete contact record like you would be doing in Command, home address. Why is it important to have your contact card in Command, for example, completely full? Like have all of those pukas filled.
In case you want to mail a handwritten to them,
Yes,
wish them a happy birthday.
that's right. It allows you to use a multifaceted marketing approach. It allows you to connect with them in different ways. You don't have to worry about it. I'm working with Dan Palomino on the Big Island right now on this data mining project. So he's an expert in data mining. And what I'm learning is, and he's done such a great job in, like, he can find contact information for anybody, accurate information. Like today, he just told the story, and this is a side note, but this is a note of how it can help you in your life, not just in creating sales for your real estate business. So he calls me this morning to tell me the story because we've been working on this data mining project, because he's been teaching the classes. And by the way, he's going to be teaching it for our region via Zoom on Monday. That is a good question. Huh?
Like,
Zoom.
well, no, but I mean, will it be an email to us?
It should be on your, I don't know if it's on the calendar, but if it's not, I can tell you. I just posted it on my Facebook page. If we're friends, we'll work, but if not, look it up. So I posted the flyer because Zach Younger, our regional tech trainer, just posted it and I copied it. Let me tell you what it is. It's the regular take command of your business that the region has I think it's on Mondays, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. our time. But he's the special guest and he's going to talk about data mining, farming, and circle prospecting. And I can make sure that you guys, Allie, I think she left from the front, but we'll just check and make sure that she can get you guys the link.
That'd be great.
So the story that he told today, so he literally just called me to tell me the story. He's like, here's another example of how this data mining thing is great and works in your favor. He was having trouble. He had to have something done on his truck. Like, I can't remember what the original story was, but like he has a Ram truck. And Allie, I don't know if it's on our calendar, but we were talking about the data mining class that Dan is the special guest in Zach Younger's Take Command of Your Business that he does every Monday in our region. So is that on our calendar and do they have the link to that? Do you know?
17th, that's next
Can
week,
we-
I believe so.
Okay, on the calendar. Okay, so check your intranet and you should be able to register for that. But anyway, he was having trouble. He had to pay some money to have something taken care of, and they weren't responding. It was like a real challenge for him to get an answer. And he kept reaching out and they were giving him the runaround and he was really frustrated. And it was like $2,500 or something. So he ended up, he's like, see who I should talk to. That's not what, that's higher up. And he literally finds the contact information for the CEO or the owner or whatever. And then he was like, well, maybe that's not the right person, but I'm going to connect with them and say, who do I need to talk to? So through his data mining process, he ended up finding the right person, which was in charge of, it had to do with a warranty thing. Something needed to be fixed. It was a warranty item. And that's how much it was, whatever. It was like he had to shell out $2,500 out of pocket. He ends up getting the contact information for this person through data mining, reaches out to them. They immediately solve the problem. They immediately call everybody. He says, I'm so sorry. Thank you so much for letting us know. And we're going to give you your $2,500. And it was like, it didn't take him that long. And that's a lot of money. I mean, to not be able to get what you need. So, and he's gotten the president's cell phone and stuff like that. Like the guy's really good at what he does. But anyway, the purpose is, going back to how this relates to this, is having complete contact cards where you have the ability, where you don't have to worry about whether you're touching your whole database. So if you're missing an email and you're sending out, an email as part of your touch campaign, and a neighborhood nurture is a really powerful tool that you can use, and you're missing that piece, it's going to be a challenge for your business. So you always want to capture and have complete contact information. It also means adding new people to your database always. And, we talk about that a lot in Ignite, so that you can have those conversations and provide value. So how many people are you, do we say you want to add to your database every day? Yeah, great, Shane. Okay. And then you also kind of ask permission to stay in contact with people. So it has to be permission based. So you don't get into weird laws about, contacting people when you're not supposed to. But the other thing is it's a relationship builder to have that conversation about, hey, I would love to be able to blah, 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 send you, what would be of value to you? If I were to send you what's happening in your neighborhood and you could click this link every month and look at what's sold and you can do it in real time, would that be valuable to you? Yes, great. Okay, so getting that permission-based side of it too. And then the next part is the converting to an appointment, which, and I've said this for the last couple of years, if you were with me or you knew me, like when we first started this office, it was very much about, and the conversation for the last, probably, 10 years has been about lead generating, getting leads. And obviously you need to have leads. However, what is the more important point of, I could have 100 leads. Does that mean that I'm going to close anything? What is the most important piece of this?
Convert to
It's the conversion point. So what you really want to focus on, and I'll put it in a very simple way that was taught to me by a guy who is regional director in our company, and he was here in Hawaii and he taught a class, and I've told the story before, but it's a really good point, which is we would always talk about generate lead, 3 hours a day, making calls, lead generation, 3 hours a day, and then an hour of follow-up, lead follow-up, right? And you may have heard that it's a time block that you're looking at, that you have to do it for that period of time. Here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to give you permission to not lead generate 3 hours a day.
Oh.
What I'm going to, we're mixing it up. Okay. What I'm going to tell you though, is anytime that you time block lead generation, that you set one appointment. So your goal now becomes set an appointment. It does not become, I have to talk to 20 people right now in this time. I have to talk to 40 people. Now you'll start to have a ratio that will appear based on the number of people that you call and talk to. So you'll learn, if I dial this many people, I talk to this many people. If I talk to this many people, I get this many appointments. So what I would say is focus. And I think a lot of agents, we kind of changed the way that we were teaching this to go from lead generate 3 hours a day to set one listing appointment every time you lead generate. So now one sounds better than 3 hours. Now here's the thing, when you're new, it may take you 3 hours to get the one appointment. However, as you get better at it and you're practicing it, it may take you 30 minutes to get one appointment. And then you decide, you hit your goal. Now, again, it's also going to be based on what your goal is. If you know what you want to close, and that means one listing appointment a week, then that's what you're going for. Once you set that listing appointment, you decide, do I want to continue? If it only takes me 30 minutes to set one listing appointment, and if I could call for another 30 minutes and set another one, that's not a bad idea. You may want to do that. So does that feel a little bit different?
Yeah.
As far as, okay, so I just want you to know you have permission to think of it that way, and to really, what that allows you to do is focus on the conversion. So it's not just about the generating leads. It's about, I'm setting an appointment. That's a really critical conversion point. Then when you set the appointments, you'll start to learn how many appointments you have to get a contract signed, et cetera, right? So very passionate about conversion and setting appointments. The next core competency is present to buyers and sellers and get agreements. Another conversion point, right? We've got the appointment. We're going to present at the appointment, whether it's listing or buyer, and we're going to get an agreement signed. And when they say agreements, they mean a buyer consultation or a listing agreement. Okay. The next point is going to be your offer, right? Your purchase contract, but really this is getting the agreements. So present to buyer and sellers. It's about your skill set during the appointment. So in order to prepare to be good at this conversion point, you're going to need to know and have prepared a listing presentation. You're going to need to have questions for your buyer consultation. You got to be prepared. That is a skill that you can develop and practice with. Okay. So that's going to outline your process. You're going to create value so that you're going to build rapport and relationships so that they want to work with you. Okay. And again, the outcome, and this is, I also want you to think about the ultimate goal. Like, what is the purpose of the conversation with the client? Now, you could say it's to build relationship. That is one purpose. Really, though, we're always looking at the lead funnel to conversion points and moving that forward or closer down the funnel to closing. So I want you to go into these appointments with the mindset of, we're going to sign this agreement at the end of this appointment, right? And you can even challenge the client and ask that question, say, hey, are you prepared? We talk about this in the lead team trainings, which is, we're going to look at 5 properties today. We put this together based on your criteria and said that we're looking for. Are you prepared to write an offer today? Yeah, sure. If we find the property we want to buy, we'll write an offer. That gets that level of commitment. Same thing when you go into a listing appointment or listing presentation. Hey, we're going to talk about how I would love to support you in selling your home and what's important to you. I'm going to ask you some questions. If we feel like we can have a good working relationship and I'm going to be able to fulfill all of your expectations of me as your agent, are you prepared to sign a listing agreement? Doesn't mean you have to list your property today. It's just that, hey, we're going to work together and we're going to go ahead and commit to a time that we want to list this property for sale. Yeah, okay, that's reasonable, right? So those are the things that help you get that a head start on the conversion point. Okay, now everybody's different and how they handle things, but that's just a little side note. And then your next core competency is show buyers and market sellers. So this is, showing buyers is really about understanding the needs of the buyer. So we're having an appointment, we're looking at properties that meet their specific criteria for them to experience with you. So when you're showing property as an experience that you're a shared experience, which builds relationship, value, credibility, and working to the point where you're going to get them to the offer, right? To get them the property at the best possible price that you can get them, or whatever the negotiation terms that are most important to them. Marketing to the seller is, the marketing of their home. How are you going to provide value in terms of having the listing and to ensure that the best buyers, potential buyers, see that home. It's not always the most. I mean, sometimes people really get caught up in the exposure of the most possible buyers, which at KW, we do have that opportunity because we're the largest real estate company and we can put it out in a way that other companies cannot. So that is a value because it is a numbers game to an extent. Now, I can also tell you that sometimes, depending on the type of property, you can be extremely strategic about the buyer. If you really know what buyer you're looking for and where they're most likely to come from, you can strategically market to that pool of buyers, which sellers respond really well to because you've thought about who that buyer might be and how you're going to get to them. Just another side note about your listing presentation and how you market. And marketing, by the way, is one of the things that a seller will hire an agent for because they want them to market their property for sale. Write and negotiate contracts. It's one of the most fun steps. I love this core competency. Who likes negotiating contracts? Dude, it is like my favorite. It's so fun going through the negotiation process. And by the way, this is according to NAR's study about what buyers look for and even sellers, but buyers specifically say this in NAR study that they look for in an agent is the ability to have somebody that can help them negotiate because they don't know the contract and they're really looking to you for that expertise. So I would mention that in every listing appointment and every buyer appointment you have is this core competency that you're going to help them with. Okay. And then the 5th is coordinate the sale to closing, the transaction to closing. What do you think the fallout rate, and it may be different today, I haven't looked at it recently, but I know on average what it has been in the past. It's actually higher today than it was 5 years ago, but what has been the typical fallout ratio, and maybe yours is different. So when you get a property in escrow, what percentage doesn't close?
Let's say 10%, maybe. Higher.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're not doing a very good job.
Average nationally, 20%. 20%.
Are they taking classes?
Fall out of escrow. Now, it may or may not be the age, it may or may not be something the agent do. When you get into the level of competency or skill set of an agent to bulletproof a transaction, you're going to get an agent that might have a 35% fallout ratio. There are times half of that, their deals fall out. Now that they're probably not doing as good of a job on the front end in how they negotiate and how they prepare that contract. However, stuff happens. So the 20% are things like they can't get the loan at the 11th hour and, you know, or things change or they cancel or whatever. But just, this is a really big one that I think some people overlook because they think, oh, great, I worked so hard, I got it in escrow. Well, again, this is going to be a numbers game. So are you going to close every single deal you get into escrow? Probably not. So then you have to have a backup. So it's not just agents will get caught up on following that one deal. It's like, I have a deal now. I have a deal. I can't do anything else except focus on my deal. I'm not lead generating anymore. I'm not, right? So yeah. And then when you don't have the deal, oh my God, I have to get another deal. We don't operate that way. Let's not operate that way. Okay. So coordinate the sale to closing, getting it all the way to closing. And this is a skill. And the reason we say these things is because I want you to realize they're a skill and things that you can get better at. That's what these core competencies are about, is like, and the more that you develop those skills in these 6 areas, which isn't that many, by the way, you're going to find that you're going to have better results in your business, just in general. Okay. And then the final competency is managing the money. So I think you learned, I think in the beginning of Ignite, you'll jump on the Zoom. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that the paycheck that you earn at first is not to just spend the whole thing, right? So agents will, okay. So yeah. Oh, I have a check. This is the beauty of being an independent contractor and a business owner. You have to know how to manage your money. And you
first 3 spent already.
What's that?
I said I had the
First 3. Okay. Now, do you have any put aside to pay your general excise tax? Do you have any to put expenses for marketing or, you know, lead generation, farming? So just make sure, follow the Millionaire Real Estate Agent budget model. It's pretty great, just in general, which is 10% of my GCI is going to go towards my expenses. 4, I got to pay GET. I got to pay state taxes. So those are the things you, and then, or maybe I'm going to save money or I'm going to put money towards my retirement. So manage your money. There's an agent financials class, which is really good, that Keller Williams teaches, which is fantastic. But just make sure that you're also managing the money, because agents will get into a lot of trouble in this area because they're not great at managing their money and checking their expenses. Now, you know, because like if you're going from W-2 to 1099 too, it's you're used to taxes being taken out of your check and, you know, those things being handled for you. So if you need to have somebody do that for you, or a bookkeeper to move the money into another account or something to help you, do it, or give it to somebody else. Be like, can you hold on to this? Okay. All right, next section, mindset matters. So every class that we teach, we talk about mindset. If you do not have the mindset and you're not approaching your business from a place where, like the 6 personal perspectives, have you guys taken that training? Okay, so that's a really good mindset.
What was it called?
The 6 personal perspectives, which is another class that we teach. Colette, when she's here, she often will do the 6 personal perspectives, but the main key, I think, based on the core competencies that we talked about that you want to think about in mindset in this class today, is about being of service, because agents can get stuck on this, again, this idea of lead generating and talking to a lot of people and feeling like they're being salesy. And you have to really shift your perspective with the idea that you are providing a service that they need. If you're not going to convince somebody to spend $800 or $800,000 on a house if they weren't planning on buying one. Like, are you really going to convince somebody to spend, you know, like, you're not. And to sell their house, you may move the ball forward with somebody, so you can actually influence that. But in general, the buying side, you know, so just think about, this person is going to buy and they need help and they need support, and I'm going to offer that support and service to them. So we're coming from contribution. When you lead generate and you're reaching out to people, you're making connections with people and you're looking for the people that are looking for you. So it's really that mindset and that approach that you want to have, and you know, energy, your enthusiasm. So what'll also happen is, as you develop the 6 core competencies we just went through, your mindset will get better around it, because you're going to build confidence. You're going to be like, okay, I have value to give in this area. And sometimes that's a little hard when you're newer to feel like you have that, but really the intention of you as an agent is the most important thing to want to help. And if people, it's the know you, like you, trust you rule. If they know you, like you, trust you, and they believe that you can help them, whether you yourselves know all the information or whether you have a team backing you that has all the information that they need, it doesn't matter. So how you think about your business is really important, and how you approach connecting with people. So achieve your highest, oh, who's gonna read that? Somebody else read that. Rosalina.
Yes, to achieve your highest potential, these 6 core competencies must be done consistently and done well.
Excellent. Okay, give me an aha from that section we just did. Yes. Boom. Yes. Okay, take-
The word confidence pops into my mind. When you have confidence, and it's equal to your knowledge and your scripts and your practice and everything, and the confidence that somebody doesn't want to, you don't want somebody operating on you when they don't have the confidence. Like, we might be able to do that. You want somebody to say, absolutely, we can do that.
That's right.
And with Keller Williams, because we have been Keller Williams for quite a while, I've always felt that the whole office is my team. So there is
Absolutely.
really not a question that can't be answered. And I'm just like, let me get with my team on that. We'll get you an answer for that.
I love that.
That,
Shane.
even when I began, that's how I had to do it, and then it just worked out. It built my confidence up.
Yes, I love that. Lean on somebody else's expertise until you, and that's one of the benefits, you're right, of being partnered here. I love that. And I always tell people my favorite thing to say to people when I didn't know, and there's always stuff we don't know. I still don't know things. Every deal's different. Stuff's going to come up. You have no idea. You have no idea. So the best thing is, Teresa asked me a question and she's my client and I don't know the answer. And I say, that's a great question, Teresa. I'm going to find out. I'm going to check on that for you. Is it okay if I get back to you tomorrow, like by noon? What's she going to say? No, you suck. You don't know. She's going to be like, awesome.
Yeah.
She's going to get back to me. That's all they want to know.
And then advice another, if it's not under contract, if it's, have a buyer agreement with them, if let's just say it's something at an open house, I use this a lot. I almost always leave out something that I don't know. Hey, do you mind if I call you tomorrow and get that answer to you? Even if I know the answer, sometimes I'll just pretend like I don't know it. And that'll give me the automatic,
Another touch point.
it'll give me the door open.
Boom. I love it. That's a great strategy. It's a great idea. Yeah. I love it. Okay. What time is it? How are we doing?
It is 2:30. Yep.
Okay. So we're going to talk about, and in your little booklets too, you have places to take notes and what we just covered. So now we're on fiduciary versus functionary, which is your page 2.7. We're going to talk a little bit about this. So what is a functionary? What is a fiduciary? So let's say we are doing business with a company like a car repair company, and they don't really care about your needs. They just focus on getting the job done and getting paid. Okay, this is what you need. I'm looking at what you need. I'm going to fix it, and we're just going to take your money. They don't build a relationship with you or stay in touch with you after the job, have that open communication. So let's say that compared to a different car repair company, and this one listens to you, anticipates your needs, has a conversation, builds a relationship with you, helps you make decisions, educates you, right, on what's going on. So you're in the loop of what's wrong with your car, not just, oh yeah, we see it, it's this problem, we're going to fix it. And they act like a partner in the process. They keep you updated on the status of the work. They follow up with you to make sure everything's okay afterwards. What's the difference?
Lisa, looks like you have a chat.
Oh, I have a chat question. Okay, thank you, Bill. RJ. Oh, he just sent the packet to everybody. Perfect. Okay, so what's the difference? So in that example, what is the first company acting as?
Functionary.
Yes. Right, and the second? That's the difference. So can you be a realtor and be a functionary?
You can.
Yeah. Right, but you don't want to, right? So what's a better agent? Now, I would look at a functionary. How would you look at a functionary in the real estate business? What would that look like? Somebody who's focused on what?
I do.
Okay, so money, not you. Yes, money. They're focused on the transaction. Gary calls it, you'll hear him talk about a transactional business or a transactional agent.
Be a functional.
What's that?
Our TC would be, they're not legally bound. We are, but they are not. They
Yeah.
are following the transaction.
It doesn't mean that they shouldn't do a good job, I'm just.
Yeah, and I understand what you're saying, and I would also be careful about, like, fiduciary, we think about fiduciary in a legal terminology that's a little bit different. This is more about the service that you provide and how you develop the relationship. Because the TC can also be a fiduciary in this respect. They're not a fiduciary in the legal term, based on what you think about as a fiduciary as a real estate professional, because they're not licensed to practice real estate. However, would you rather have a TC that's like, okay, I'm just going to upload all your docs and do this, or hey, Teresa, I noticed that this is missing this thing, or would you like me to contact the client directly, or would you like to contact the client? How would you like me to present this? Like, or they just send it to your client for signature with no explanation because they need it uploaded in their file. So even in that, you can look at the difference. I think in this regard, we're talking about level of service as opposed to, the legal terminology, although that definitely applies here too. And you're right that functionary task oriented would be thought of more like a transaction coordinator, like their checklist, they have a job to do. There are also good transaction coordinators that do that job, and there's transaction coordinators that both can get the same thing done in terms of the paperwork, but how they approach it is different, right?
Like your cousin, hey, I got a piece of property, you wanna sell it for me real quick? Yeah, you're licensed, right? Yeah, go ahead and sell that for me. We just need to-
Right.
That would be a functionary.
Yes.
No, I don't care what you, just go ahead and get rid of it.
Yeah, put it in the MLS, see what happens.
A fiduciary would be like, well, we've invested in this property, we have grand design for the money and stuff. This is what I feel that.
Yes.
Let's see what we can do with that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I think to Teresa's point, the idea of that we're looking out for what's in the best interest of that client, which we're required to do as their agent. A TC, if a TC might be, or an escrow company, right? They're going to be unbiased. They're not going to be looking out for one party's best interest over another, but they're going to be looking out for the whole transaction. Like, is this, we're going to help get this thing through and get what we need to do. So I'd say, yeah, if anything, escrow probably functions more as a functionary. However, it also makes a difference in terms of level of service when you work with a title and escrow company. So let's go to fascinating. Okay. All of a sudden it's not working again. That's really weird. It's stuck on the slide. Doesn't like, oh, there we go. Okay, be the fiduciary. Okay, we talked about managing the money. All right, let's go through the success system. Okay, here's another quote. Who's going to read it? Let's get somebody on the screen. Jim, are you around? Do you want to read the quote on the screen?
Sure. Nothing else about your business will have as big an impact on it as the number of leads you have.
Great. Thank you. So again, with no leads, no business. And again, I'm going to remind you, ladies, that the step beyond this is the number of leads that you have converted to an appointment. I would argue that anywhere that you say leads, you see leads anywhere now should be appointments for the most part. Okay. So, and then why do you think cultivating leads are important? Like, what does cultivating leads look like to you?
Staying at the top of the mind.
Top of mind. Great. That's great for cultivating. Yes. What else? Educating. Yeah. Providing information so they can make an educated decision. Giving them that constant information. That's great. What else?
Personal connection, relationship building.
Yes, I love it. And then another thing, just to go back to developing the skill set on the cultivation side, is the practicing. And again, sometimes agents shortcut this. So I think it's important to mention, which is the practice of cultivating and having those conversations that you have with clients, and role playing and scripts and objection handling. And, that comes in here too, right? So, and that builds that comfort level, that builds that confidence. If it's a conversation, your brain doesn't know the difference. Your brain doesn't know whether you're talking to a real client in a listing presentation or Teresa in a script and role play class. Your brain just goes, oh, I'm practicing this. Oh, I'm getting better at this. So it's going to happen. Like, that's a cool thing. You can do that. And then you go in front of a client and it's like, I've had this conversation before. Doesn't matter if this is my first listing appointment. I've literally done this 100 times in my script and role play. I'm ready. Like, that's the power of that, developing that skill set, that being prepared, cultivating leads, you know, having those conversations. It's so great if you can practice. Okay. So the next section, the last section here, and then we can go back and cover anything else. I just want to make sure we get through it, is the accountability section. So on page, and by the way, who hasn't read yet? Who wants to read this accountability quote? Joshua?
Sure.
Yay.
Accountable people achieve results others can only dream of.
Oh, that's such a great quote. Accountability is your friend. Does anybody feel like it's a scary word to be accountable? Okay, what do you think about when you think about accountability?
Not letting people down, meeting your goals, meeting your deadlines.
Not letting people down. And who is the most important person in that?
Theory is yourself.
Yes. Yes, it is yourself, really, first, because that is where it starts. That having that accountability to yourself. Now, can you just be self-accountable and not have other people that help you and support you in that? Is that a way to get where you want to go? Is that okay? Because why? Because you're going to tell your own story. Right. And it's tough to hold yourself accountable completely. And it's better to have other people that help hold you accountable. So we're going to talk about what accountability looks like, because we want to think about it as not a bad word. We want to think about it as, I mean, the way I always approached accountability, I loved having a coach, and I loved having somebody that was holding me accountable to in what I wanted. And part of it was helping me to get where I wanted to go, because what would happen is if I didn't hit something, say I set a goal and I didn't get there, then there was a conversation of an exploration about what happened. Was it a skill that I need to get better at or improve, or a resource that I didn't know about? Was it that I was just not as motivated, or was there something going on in my life? So as you start to understand what happens with accountability, it becomes just part of who you are. For me, I wanted, and the other part is like, you have to have a why, and you have to know what's driving you, and you have to be excited about what you're doing, because otherwise it's going to feel like work. And really, this job is part of who you are as a person. So if you really start to think about this as an extension of yourself, it's not, this is just what I do for a living. You guys are not in a W-2 employee job where you have to go sit in a cubicle every day and, you know, do something you might not enjoy doing. By the way, I read, I was shocked. What book was it? It was one of Patrick Lencioni's books, or maybe Simon Sinek. And the number of people in America that are unhappy in their job was like an astounding number. It was like 90%, something crazy high. Like, I would have never guessed it was that high. That was a huge takeaway for me. So we are so fortunate to be, so gratitude is a great way to start the day, because it makes you realize how fortunate you are. And then you go, oh yeah, I get to do this. Yeah. So it's not I have to, it's I get to. And that's a mindset shift. So accountability is the same. It's like, I get to do this. How can I do this better? How can I get where I want to go faster? What kind of support do I need? And really, let's look at your accountability questions, because this is really what it's about. So what I want you guys to do, did you already pick an accountability partner in the last session, or do you guys have okay. Okay, sometimes that's helpful, sometimes not, we'll see. It depends how that works, because that can get into personal stuff too. Yeah. Like if you have a partner telling you you're not doing something and they're not doing the accountability partnership in the most healthy way, that can be a challenge. So my suggestion would be, don't make it your significant other. That's my suggestion. Yeah, you're welcome. So find somebody else, somebody in the Ignite classes are good, or a coach here, or a broker, ask them, will you be my accountability partner? And let's look at just the accountability questions. I want you guys to read this. We'll go around to read the accountability. So Tracy, why don't you read number 1 and then we'll just work our way around the table.
Provide a safe place to share.
No, sorry, page 2-2.11.
2.11. Oh, how did you do?
How did you do? How did you do? Yep. What's the next one, Shane?
How do you feel about that?
How do you feel about that? Great. Rosalina?
Did you have any opportunities for improvement?
That's a good question. Bill?
This feels like a shrink.
Ah! In some ways, yes. In some ways, yes. I like it. Okay, what's your question? How
How do you feel?
how will you address? Yeah.
How will you address those opportunities?
Great, Teresa. And then how will you celebrate your wins? So if this were just your meeting every week with your accountability partner, asking these questions, does that feel, let's role play this for a minute. Who wants to role play? Bill, you want to role play with me? So I'll ask you the questions. Okay, so you're going to be the agent. I'm going to ask you the questions. So, hey, Bill, and we've already talked about what you're looking to accomplish, maybe looked at your business plan, your 1-3-5. And so you've already shared with me what it is that you want to accomplish. Okay. And then you said, these are the things that I want to focus on this week, whatever they are. That part and what I'm going to show you is that part of exactly what it was that you said you were going to do isn't that relevant because we're just going to talk about it. And I'm going to say, okay, so Bill, how'd you do this week? How'd it go for you?
Busy.
Okay, we're busy. So what about in relation to your goals? How did you do?
Well, I didn't have time for lead generation. I thought I should probably.
Okay. And how do you feel about that?
Less than satisfied because I'm not giving the commitment that I need.
Okay. And did you see or have any opportunities for improvement in that area this week?
Tricky question.
Okay. What does that mean to you?
Yes, there are areas for opportunity, but I have to weigh those against what I'm doing with everything else that's going on in my life. I guess.
Okay. So, and what I might say here, for the sake of time, I won't, but what I might say here is tell me more about that, because that is a very interesting thing that came up where I see you're conflicted. So I might say, tell me more about that. Tell me about the difference between like where you feel like the opportunities are. And I might want you to share with me what you feel those opportunities were. So maybe just give me one. What is an opportunity that you see for improvement? Just give me one example.
Open houses.
Okay, open house, doing more of those.
Yeah, doing more open houses, getting my name out there a little bit more, and showing more open houses. Yeah.
Okay, so showing more open. So how would you address that opportunity? How do you want to address that?
Working with people in the office, approaching them, asking them what listings they might have that are ready for an open house, that there's times that are available.
Cool. What were your wins this week? Yeah, you could come up with one. What would you say was a win for you?
I think it's Friday.
What's a win about that?
The problem is separating my work life from my real estate life. So it was an extremely hectic and busy week, and we made it to Friday, and the network didn't die.
Oh, good. Okay, so you got through a really busy week. The network didn't die. That was a win. That's awesome. How will you celebrate that?
There's a 12-pack in there.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, there's one right here. So first, Bill, from you, what did that process feel like for you?
It put me on the spot, honestly. It made me have to think about what I've been doing for the last week and where I can actually try and find places to improve and give this side of the life a little more attention.
Great. Did you feel like I was judging you or scolding you or cracking the whip on you or?
Not per se.
Okay.
If this had been a real example, if I had been talking with my coach and she had gone through questions like that, I would have got a little bit of scolding probably.
Okay.
Deservedly so.
I mean, you're like,
Do you, no, your coach, do you feel like I was telling you what to do or
No.
what the solutions were?
No,
Okay, so that is what this is. What was the takeaway from you guys seeing that process? What did you think about that? I mean, what were your ahas?
It's not personal. It's just business. It's business.
I
Yep.
liked how just listening to you question him and then how he had to think about the things, because I struggle with that sort of as well. You know, I'm split between two things and I feel like I don't get enough done in either place.
Yeah.
And then I start thinking in my head, okay, well, how am I gonna, okay, do I write stuff down? Do I, it's just like, there's so much to think about all the time that it's hard to channel me and focus in, you know, just like that with blinders on.
Yeah.
So it does make it kind of chaotic
I'm wrong.
all week.
Do you feel like there was a right or wrong answer?
No,
Yeah.
I was curious what he did for work.
Yeah.
software release manager.
So what I would like for you to take away from that exercise is that that's all it is. Number one, it's literally 6 questions. So whoever your accountability partner is, you could literally do these 6 questions every week. And you're going to go through a self-discovery process. I didn't know what was going on in your world. You were telling me, you were figuring stuff out for yourself in your mind. All I'm doing is just saying how'd it go? What were your wins? Where do you see an opportunity for improvement? What would you like to do about that? And you know, how are you going to celebrate what happened well for you? So, and that is moving the ball forward for you in your own mind, in your own process. So now what's going to happen is you may do something differently this week, or you may say, hey, I really said that I wanted to focus on one thing, which was open houses and having more open house opportunities. So next week we may get together and I say, how'd you do? And you go, you know what? I went through my schedule and I booked some more open houses. Great. Did I tell you to do that? Right. So what I want you to see is that it's a process. It's an internal process. And all I'm doing as an accountability partner or a coach is asking questions for you to self-discover. That's a good coach and that's a good partner. And this is a great guide for you guys to do with each other. That's not judgmental, and you don't need to solve their problems that you think they have or that you might be able to solve. And I'm not going to reprimand you because you didn't do whatever it was.
No.
What I'm going to do is have you think about what that is and prioritize it, and you're going to make that decision.
Yeah, it'd be kind of a self-scolding at that point, because you're exposing the fact that you're holding up the mirror and making me realize to myself that I'm not living up to what my goals are, and I'm the only one who thinks that.
Yes. And what if the conversation would have gone, I said, how'd you do? I did great. I checked off every single goal that I set for myself in the last week.
Right. And what are you gonna do next?
Great. So the questions are the same. It's really just you're driving that. And again, no judgment. I mean, that's great. I might say, good for you. That's awesome. How do you feel about that? Or I might not even judge. I might not even say that's awesome. I might just say, how do you feel about that? And you go, I'm proud of myself. Or I wish I would have done more. Or I, really needed to take a break because I was going through emotional stuff. So maybe I probably shouldn't have pushed so hard. I mean, I don't know what the answer is. The point is, it's not, I really want you guys to think of accountability differently. And this is a great thing for you to practice when you pick your accountability partner, which I want you to do, by the way. What time is it? 2:51. Okay. Okay. So helpful activity. Who is going to use these questions? Great. You can also, you already use them. And you can ask yourself these questions too, but it's really better if it's an accountability. And I would say, ask your coach. You could give your coach these questions or somebody in this room or in these trainings, and just pick that person and go through that weekly. Okay.
The nice
So-
thing about these questions here, I can actually apply those to my daytime job as well. And also people that report on me, I think they do the same thing.
It's not area specific. That's exactly right. Now, this is important, this part of it too, which is what you were trying to read Tracy at the beginning, which is these are kind of the ground rules though. If you're going to do this, you need to provide a safe place. You need to follow through with the action items that you say that you're going to do. Listen and pay attention while the other person shares. Like, it's really, I was just there with you. I was listening, trying to help guide you through the questions. Set a frequency of checking in. I would suggest weekly. Dig deep to find out why you do the things you do, which is what you were doing. You were kind of thinking about it, like, well, why did I should have done this? And maybe I need to do more of that. That's what this process is about, so that you make that connection. Respect each other in the process, create a commitment, stick to it, be open to receiving feedback. So your assignment is to pick an accountability partner and give them these ground rules. And if you need to take a picture, I don't know if it's in your book, that one is, yeah, that one's in your book, the little slide. And then, and everybody on the Zoom call too is to pick an accountability partner, ideally, again, not a significant other, or probably not a parent. There's a whole nother dynamic there. And then go through these 6 questions every week and time block that in your calendar. This is my session with my accountability partner, or call it whatever you want. Isn't it? You can call it my spiritual enhancement guru. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Okay, good. I love it. I love it. Okay, next. All right, we're gonna get through the last part, which is Ford.
Can we do Chevy instead?
Okay, this is just the daily success system tracker, which you guys probably do every session, right? Do you guys look at this every session? I think you are, which is making sure that every week you're doing you're tracking your number of 10 conversations. Are you guys doing this in Command too? The trackers in Command, or no?
Not yet, but it's
Okay.
it's moving. that
So
way.
I just want to make sure that you have a format, and I didn't look at session 1, so I'm not really sure what the format of this is, but you want to be tracking your 10, how many, so your daily 10, right? Your daily 10-4, you guys talk about that, which is your 10 contacts added, your new contacts, your conversations with your existing database, handwritten notes. And then they have the 10-5-1 social media engagement. It used to be conversations, contacts, notes, and learning the market, which you still want to be doing by looking on the MLS and seeing what new listings are coming out and getting to build that skill set. But then the 10-5-1 and the social media engagement, which is part of your lead gen and lead follow-up and liking things that people post and, you know, identifying your sphere in social media. And then I don't know what enrichments are, because that was a new one for me. Who knows what enrichments are? Do you know what that is? Oh, self-enrichment. Okay, so read something, study something, build on your core competencies or your new skill set. Great, thank you. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, see, I have been out of the Ignite loop for a little while. Okay, who's reading? Who would like to read this quote? Who did I not call on? Nicole, who did I notice was on here? Who has not read? Who is Nicole R? Are you on? No. Okay, somebody in this room.
If you can't measure it, you can't.
Yes, so I just had this conversation with an agent that I coach on tracking, which they've never done in their business. And this agent does a ton of business. And one of the first things they said was, wow, I wish I would have been doing this for the last, you know, whatever, 18 years. But the concept of tracking, people get caught up in, well, if I track the numbers, I'm becoming a transactional agent. I'm a functionary agent. I'm not a fiduciary. I'm not people, you know, people are not numbers.
You have to forecast and project if you don't track.
Yes, and by the way, they are. Numbers are the business. The numbers are the, what is the quote? The foundation of business or something like that. Numbers are business.
Numbers are your friend.
They are your friend. So, and it gives you information. So if you think about it in a way that if I'm not tracking, think about the consistency of working with clients and tracking how you work with that client and creating a system for that. So if you're able to service 3 clients at a high level, anybody can do that. When you now have 23 clients or 33 or 53 or 103 or 503, you need to have a system to be able to service those people at a high level and to be a great agent. You also need to know where you're at in relation to your goals at any given time. How much more likely are we, if we know that we are closing 5 transactions a month and that's our goal, and we have nothing in escrow and we're closing 5 transactions a month. And we didn't pay attention to that. And all of a sudden we were like, we have a check, and now no money. And the next time we're going to close something is maybe 4 or 5 months from now or longer. All of a sudden, do you have a financial management problem? Probably. So what you want to do is always be tracking. So you know ahead of time, if you're looking at it every week and you're looking at your business plan every month and you say, well, in order to get to my goal or to pay my bills, I need to close 5 transactions a month. And I'm here today and I need to close another transaction 60 days from now. What do you need to do? Are you going to actually be more likely to work towards getting your transaction in escrow? Yes, of course you are. So yeah, if you can't measure it, you can't improve it. Last is Ford. So who knows what Ford is and has used Ford in contacts? It's a ninja selling. It came originally from ninja selling. If you've ever studied that. It is, this is such an awesome formula to use when you're connecting with people. So whether it's you're lead generating and making calls and adding people to your database or meeting new people, or you're connecting with clients in your database, use this as a model. So it stands for family. Ford is family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Some people are like, well, do I have to? And they will put it in front of them when they're on the phone. So I'm forwarding Teresa. Right, I'm calling Teresa. She's a client of mine. I'm saying, hey, Teresa, how are you doing? Oh, it's so good to connect with you. What's going on in your world? Just working. What else are you doing for fun?
I joined a canoe club.
Oh, really? Wow. Where are you paddling? That's so great. That's so great. So you mentioned you were working a lot. How's that going? What's happening in your job, the world of your job right now?
It's going really well. It's lots of opportunities to promote.
Good. I'm so glad to hear that. How is Mark doing?
It's fine. Everything's good.
Really? Just okay. Is it like great? Awesome.
Yeah, it's fine. He's good.
He's good. Okay, I'll stay there. Awesome.
He's in trouble and she doesn't talk.
Yes. So and then I might say, now some people don't bring up real estate, but I might, hey, is there anything that I can do to help you or support you? Do you need anything from me? I wanted to touch base with you and talk to you in a while and see how you were doing.
I like the way that you were able to do that, not FORD, but you were able to bounce around a lot, as long as all 4 letters get touched.
Actually, you don't even need to touch far. I didn't even go here yet.
Yeah.
And I don't have to. I might just go right to, how can I help you? And what would you say? Like, is there anything I can do for you right now?
I have a friend who's looking to sell their house and I give her your number.
I'm good. How do you know them?
She's my neighbor,
Oh, great. What's her name?
Jill Smith.
Jill Smith. Okay. Do you know what her property address is or which house she's in?
Yeah, she's at 2682.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for doing that and giving her my information. Do you think it would be okay if I reached out to her?
Sure.
Awesome. Do you have her number? Blah, blah,
That's
blah.
my favorite part there.
Yeah.
Jason, not Jason, but.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, and we have a relationship, and I brought real estate into that. You don't have to. This could just be about connecting, like care calls, and you don't even talk about real estate, but I usually offer to help. I would say that because, and it would remind her I'm in real estate, and she may or may not think about it, or she may just say, no, thank you so much for asking, or, what do you mean? Or maybe she wants me to help her, like drive her to the airport next weekend, like whatever it is. But we you don't have to cover all these.
But I just in my calls, they said, oh, the lady who lives 2 doors down from me is looking to sell.
Oh.
And I said, does she have a realtor? She didn't say it. I said,
Yeah.
does she have a realtor?
She's
She
gonna
said, not yet. She's just decided that she wants to sell.
Right.
I said, then I have her address. So
Yes,
what is her name?
exactly. And I would love to reach out to her and connect with her.
Here we are.
See if I can help and support her. And then how easy is that call? Hey, I was talking to Teresa and she mentioned I've been working with her, or put in a good word for me. Oh, I did that already. Great. And she mentioned you to me and I just wanted to offer my support. I love Teresa. What can I do? Would you like to know? Did you get a valuation of your property yet? Like that's an easy call. But, this is a good one. I could have said to her, hey, Teresa, I know did you guys end up going to Paris last year? You were talking about doing that. Is that something you and Mark were going to do? Did you take that trip? If in fact, that was the conversation. And then she'll say, and that would be under the streams category. So this is such an easy conversational flow that does not feel anything other than what it is, and you really do care and you really are connecting, right? So I really want to encourage you to get to know that and have that in front of you so you remember. But yeah, Shane, if you go down the list and you're very you're too mechanical with it, it's gonna show. And then we just kind of go back into database of making sure that you're logging all this information. So if I'm making these calls, I'm going to put this information, whatever she just told me. Oh, her neighbor's son. Great. This is her neighbor's name. I'm going to add her neighbor as a contact, and I'm going to say referred by Teresa, like, you know, and then I'm going to create a follow-up to call the neighbor. Okay. So, and then you have in your packet your conversation tracking sheet, which you can do on an Excel spreadsheet as well. Give me your ahas, and then I'll let you guys go. Give me one aha from each of you, and online too. I'm gonna ask you,
Just one, okay.
or two, or whatever, but
The first aha is, I have to get out there and talk to more groups of people, socialize outside more.
Yeah.
Or just, that way I can fire up the conversation of, I'm in real estate, how can I help you? You can ask them if you can help them, if you haven't talked.
yes,
So new people, new groups, new associations, and then the other one is, build a system on the daily success system, build that's repeatable.
yes,
Because I struggle with, who am I gonna call today? Where am I gonna go to talk to people? How do I, because getting 10 conversations going, you have to fly out this side of that.
so talk to your, do you have a coach still, or?
No,
Okay, so there is a system called the, that we learn in Bold, what's that called? The A to Z, the A through, the alphabet, DTD2.
D2.
Look
Yeah,
up or
probably
ask
right.
somebody to help you with the DT, or Sasha, the DTD2 and what that system is. That will probably help you figure out who to call.
DTD2.
DTD2.
Carrie, if you reach out to him and they have the smart plans.
Oh, yeah, Carrie
and
too.
they're also doing.
Market Center Tech Trainer.
They'll have you set up the text so that you'll make the phone call, so that they'll all be queued right there for you, so you know who you're calling on a given day.
I used to do the Mojo dialer with Red X,
Yeah,
and so that was and then I did the open houses on the weekend.
Yep.
We got pretty busy, so I stopped doing that and just started doing just the open houses.
okay.
We
That'll
can
help you with the
get it
database call.
Uploaded into your Mojo, but he'll get the tag and then it takes your database to a whole new level for me.
Yeah, it's super good. Okay, let's go to, did you say, yeah, give me yours.
My aha is to help him with past contacts. We've got a lot of people from when we did real estate in California. For instance, one of our, John Fontaine was our first client. I was just out there last year. My mom was passing away, so I went to their house and just stopped in to say hi. We hadn't seen them. We used to go to, they used to invite us to all their Halloween parties and whatever party they had. And so I just decided, I was in our town and I just stopped by and said hi to them and got a picture with them and everything. And
Awesome.
we just made some really good, wonderful friends out of almost all the deals that we've done.
That's great. And those are great people to reconnect with. And the referral business too is very good there
Well,
as
that's
well.
another thing, I wrote down for myself was working in the command, there's a referral list somewhere.
Yes.
Right, that for other realtors that
Yes.
we can connect with, so I want to figure all that out.
Totally. Yeah, that would be great. I love it. I love it. Awesome. Rosalina.
I like the accountability questions, I think I'm gonna find some.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Feels
You're
like, yeah,
yourself, You're yourself.
Yeah.
You're accountable.
love
You're
it.
yourself accountable.
Good. That was a big one. I love that one too. Bill,
Same.
that's the one.
Either that or get it from.
Yeah, or, or it could be the same person. Yeah.
Maybe I'll be yours.
That's Rosalina. That's the degree. We are by default. When you get your real estate license, you become like a default therapist. Teresa.
I really, it was a great reminder for me is taking it out of the time blocking is, I'm gonna work 3 hours and I'm gonna do the lead gen and serve it to, I'm gonna set 5 appointments.
Yes.
However long that takes.
Yeah.
I'm 5 appointments.
I love it. Yeah, that's,
I like checking also.
that was a huge one for
Yeah,
me.
it's been hammered every time.
Yeah.
We do a Legion, you have to do Legion.
Yes.
3 hours a day. I don't have 3 hours a day.
Yeah.
So.
Well, figure out what goal based, how many appointments you need to make and figure it out. And you are gonna have to time block the time, but yeah, work on your appointments and see how that goes. Joshua and AHA.
I recently stopped using the CRM that I was using, and I need to get with my coach, who's my accountability partner, and start using Command, which is free.
Love it. Nicole, is that a Nicole? I see Nicole R, but I don't know if that's.
Hey,
Hey. You,
Hello?
AHA?
oh yeah, so I'm with Teresa on the not the time blocking, but just getting the what does it say? To get one, I wrote it down.
One appointment?
Trying to get, yeah, getting the one appointment instead of focusing on the specific amount of time and setting a goal for myself in that way, I think will make a huge difference for me. And I loved the focusing on the conversion, not just the conversation. So
Love it.
remembering that there, you know, we can lead generate, we can lead generate, but if we're not
That's right. I love it. Good. Thank you for that. Sam.
Hi. I'm gonna not be a transactional agent.
Great. I love it.
Yes.
Good takeaways, you guys. Yeah, this is a good one. It covers a lot of really good key things. So thank you for being here. Thank you for staying a little bit over. Have a good rest of your day.
Great class.
You're, yay. Well, you're very welcome. All right.